Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to show you a pretty simple card that you can create really for anyone using the Trusty Tools stamp set. And then I'm also going to use the Perennial Postage stamp set. This is a newer stamp set that's actually in the Spring Mini Catalog. This also has a coordinating die set that goes with it. So you could do this as stamps. It doesn't have any images for that portion. It's more the dies and the words, but lots of other stuff you can do with this. And I hope to show you some stuff with this in the future. But what we're going to use is Your Love Beyond Measure. And the reason we're doing that is because right now during Celebration, you can still earn this really cool DSP. So it's Trusty Tools DSP. It has the pegboard on the back, lots of different tools. So the cool part about this is, and I don't have it, I have to grab that. This is a really large die set. Hold on, I think I have it right over here. This is a pretty big one, that's why it's not in there. This has a really large die set that goes along with it. And it does have dies for pretty much every one of these, but you can also die cut from the paper. So the paper you can get when you purchase $50 during Celebration, which ends February 29th this year. Since we have leap year, we have an extra day, so keep that in mind. But you could use this and cut out a lot of stuff from the paper, and then you would really not have to stamp or color as many tools. But we're going to only be using this portion today. And then the other thing we're going to do, and I actually have this already done, I used some Stampin' Blends markers, and this crazy mystery piece, whatever this is, if it's a level, it does have a little bit of a jagged edge. Maybe it's part of a measuring tape, I don't know, but we're going to cut this out and we're going to put this underneath. So I have that little piece already that I'll show you as well. But this is a pretty simple card because it really only has a little bit of stamping. So this piece of Designer Series paper, this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and we're layering this onto a pebbled path base, 8.5 by 4 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So that's going to be our base card for this. I also have a panel of white for the inside and just a little scrap. So we're going to put this on the inside just to kind of zhuzh up our inside card a little bit. And then I have a piece for the sentiment and then a piece for the measuring tape. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that because we do need to let it dry before we work with our Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to use some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to show you can actually do this two ways. So it kind of depends on what it is you want to do. So you can either stamp it like so, and I'm going to do another one. I'll show you this, and then you guys can decide what you like better. So stamp it, and the reason I did two is because you can either color it in with your Stampin' Blends or your watercolor pencils, so many different things that you can use for that. Or there also is an inside piece, and I'm going to grab my coral ink. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this, and then what you're going to do is you're going to just stamp it so it lines right up. So I'm going to do the one that's already a little bit dry. So this is Calypso Coral ink, and we're going to just line that up, pop it right in the center. Okay, so there's that. It also has, and let me look here, make sure I'm telling you correctly. We don't have a tab or a centerpiece on this, but with the dies, if you wanted to, there also is the little tape tab, so you could cut that if you want. It even has the indented markings in it, the little pull, the tab, and the circle. So if you're making these and you wanted to do like a bunch of different color pieces and put one together on your own, you could do that as well. What we're going to do for this, and I'm going to show you for the other one, is we're going to grab our, what did I use? I believe I used Daffodil Delight. Just slide this out just a little bit. Daffodil Delight Stampin' Right marker, or you could use your Stampin' Blend, and I don't think I put mine away from our last escapade. So I'm going to grab So Saffron in the meantime, and I'm going to just color this in, and a little bit here. Okay, and then I'm also going to grab, oh, where is it? My Calypso Coral. And I'm going to color. So when my blends get a little gnarly like this, you can see what this one looks like, hopefully. It's kind of a little marled at the end. What I usually do is I'll take my snips and I'll just kind of cut those little pieces off. Now, be careful. Last time I did this, I wasn't very smart, and I wiped this with my finger. I'm going to wipe it with a rag later. But you're kind of just bringing it back to having a tip. And then I'm going to go ahead and color the rest of this in. And I'm going to use, so that was light. And I'm going to use, was that light or was that dark? Coral. Here's dark, yes. I'm going to use my dark marker. And I'm going to do the little switch part here a little bit darker. Okay, so there's that. Now, if you're going to do it the other way, I'm going to show you this. So we're going to have our outside. So I'm going to start with the dark because we have some markings here that's showing this is going to be a little bit darker. I'm going to do this little doohickey here, like that. Okay. And I also need to grab my dark, my light and dark. So I have my light and dark So Saffron. Ooh. I don't know if it is the temperature of this room or what the deal is, but I have noticed that, and I'm wondering if this has happened to anybody else. My alcohol markers, sometimes when I pop them open, I'll get like a spray of alcohol. Does that happen to anybody else, or is it just me? It is extremely dry right now in the mid-Atlantic, Northeast, whatever it is you want to call us. So I don't know if it's because it's so dry. And the markers, I do store them flat, so I don't really have like a good reason why that would happen. So then I'm going to take my light So Saffron, I'm sorry, Calypso Coral. And again, we are die cutting this, so if you go a little bit outside the lines, it's not going to really matter very much. And I'm going to bring that in. And then same here. Yeah, I just went just a little outside, but that's okay. Okay. Blend this just a little bit. I'm actually going to put just a little bit more down here at the bottom, just because this would be a little darker since it's on the bottom, and then these two pieces touching would be a teeny bit darker. And just blend this out just a little bit with the light. Okay. And these are all closed. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just die cut both of these. So you can see this one was stamped, and then we added the blends. This one was done just with the blends. And I'm also going to cut this out while I'm at it. It's just this little piece that's going to go underneath, right like that. And then I also have one other thing to stamp, but let me just cut these really quickly. Just going to pop this over here for a minute. You guys haven't seen any die cutting on here in a hot second. And I am going to put just a little piece of washi just to hold this in place, just because sometimes the magnets can jump a little bit. Slide this over just a smidge. So the whole goal of what I was going for this, sorry about that. Grab my Post-it note tape and I hit the camera. My apologies. The goal I was going for this was kind of like Bermuda Bay, but then I tied in the yellow of the paper with using, again, Daffodil Delight. You could use crushed curry if you wanted to. It's a yellow, so they're going to kind of blend regardless. And then also with having the coral as kind of like a contrast color. So let me just pull this off. I'm going to cut this because what I can do is, even if I don't use both of these obviously on one card, I can always just use it to create another one as soon as we're done. So you can see what this piece looks like, what I'm talking about with the little ridges. It's just a little bit, it's almost got like a little bit of tooth to the edge of it. I don't really even know what you would call that, but there it is. I'm going to run this other one through really quickly too, since I have it. It's just on another piece. Again, I just added some color with my Stampin' blends. That one was probably a combination of Bermuda Bay, which is a long retired, but still missed by me color. So if I have to, after the fact, I can always make another card. Just have to cut another piece of that paper, because I think this is a really cool card. I honestly think this would make a great card, even if maybe you wanted to give this to your mom for like a Mother's Day card. Your love beyond measure. I mean, Lord knows that's how we all feel about our moms, whether they are or aren't here any longer. Okay, just put that on the side. And I want to move these two out of the way so I don't lose them. That here, that there. Okay, so the only other thing we have left to do is just to stamp our sentiment, which should fit right on here perfectly. And I did this in, man, what did I do this in now that I think about it? Oh, this is a little bit crooked. I'm going to go this way because I think I trimmed this up. Yeah. So we're going to do this in Coastal Cabana. Since we don't really have Bermuda anymore, we'll just do it in Coastal Cabana. Close enough. You guys know how I feel about Coastal Cabana. That's another one of my favorite colors. Okay. So you could also do it in black if you wanted to. Just depends on what floats your boat. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and assemble our card. Now we have all of our pieces. Throw this in the trash. Move this out of the way. Okay. So we have, here it is, liquid glue. So I'm going to go ahead and do the inside portion first. You just want to make sure that you do put your tick marks for your measurements so they're facing the correct way directionally, because you don't want them to be upside down. You could do it, but I don't really think it would be the best to glue something on upside down on purpose anyway. And you could glue it to either side. I just tend to like that one. I'm going to put some liquid glue on the back of this piece of paper. And aside from what it's taking you to decide if you're going to stamp or die color it, this is a pretty quick and easy card to do. And just make sure that's nice and straight. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside. And I kind of used that extra piece of DSP only because I had it. And I figured really instead of throwing it away, I might as well do something with the inside of the card. So I do that quite a lot. I'll just add just a little thin strip of paper to the inside from something that I'm using. Let me just hit this with my bone folder. So then what we're going to do is we have this piece here. We're going to, I'm going to trim this out just a little bit, and then we're going to put just this little piece with it as well, but we're going to pop some of these up. So I'm going to take my snips, and when I cut this, I just recently changed blades. I must have had a little ledge on here still. That happens sometimes when you're cutting. Just get that ink off of there. When you're cutting, if you've kind of gone past the life of your cutting blades, you'll notice that you'll get a little bit of a lip here. You can kind of flatten it out with your bone folder if you'd like. So I'm going to just take this and I'm going to trim this up on the top to the word, but the bottom part I'm going to just leave it flat. Okay, and then I'm going to just trim this square for the Y. It's pretty good on this side, but I still need to flatten this just a little bit. There's just a little bit of a ledge. I'm going to try it on the glass mat. Maybe that'll flatten it out better. There you go. And the other thing I'm going to do just to kind of bring this in a little bit because of the differences, I'm going to grab my Calypso Coral marker and I'm going to use the brush end and I'm going to just run along the edge just like so. That when we put that darker piece, it kind of contrasts against it. Same thing here. This is kind of a simple thing that you can do, and it just makes your white layer, this just looks a tiny bit crooked. It makes your white layer stand out just a little bit more with the contrast of the color. Okay, so I'm going to grab a couple dimensionals. This will just get glued directly on. Ooh. What did I do with my dimensionals? I'm going to just use these little pieces for now because I don't know what I did with them. Okay, we'll use that for the sentiment. Let's see. This looks a little bit too big. I'm going to cut this in half. Then we're going to put a half on the back, and then we'll put just a little strip piece on the end. That might fit. Just like that. I'm just trim this off just a little bit. And there we go. So that's going to go there. Need a little piece for our sentiment. I think this needs a little bit longer of a piece than I thought. Yeah, I'm going to just trim this off. See what this looks like. It should fit. And I just need just a little piece for the other end. Looks good. And just a little slim spot. Not even very big for this end. It's a little too big. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Wow, couldn't have done that if I tried. That will never happen again on this video. Just rest assured there. Just a hair hanging over. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to just set this here. We kind of want to be able to see all the words, so you can kind of change it around depending on where you want it to be. I think I'm going to tuck it right in here like that. And then we're going to put our little blue piece, just glue that straight down. So I'm going to just put some glue and we'll have that ready for when we're ready to go. Okay, we'll just set that here. All right, so I'm going to start by putting down my measuring tape. And then we'll kind of just figure where do we want to fit this in. That looks good. I'm going to peel this off, and then we'll just stick that other piece, kind of tuck it right underneath. Great. And let me grab this little piece. I'm just going to stick that right underneath. Just kind of really ties all of the colors together. And always, if you want, you could add a little bit of Wink of Stella on there. I have a couple pieces here. I'm still trying to make sure I don't lose those extra foam pieces. But really pretty fun, pretty simple card. I mean, depending on if you're going to stamp it in or you're going to color it in. But a super, super simple card to use, okay? So the other thing I wanted to show you guys really quickly, because I talked about this quite a while ago. And I was talking about the prized plant stamp set. This was the three-step stamp. So you're going to stamp the outline first, which is the darkest color here. Then you're going to stamp the inside, and then you're stamping in the fill-in color. So I was talking about this plant-wise, and someone was kind enough to tell me what the plant was. Of course, now I can't remember what it was called, because, you know, you can't recall things when you need to, because there's so many things in mom's brains at the same time, right? But anyway, we were talking about how these come in all these different colors. So I actually came up with this color combination, and this reminds me more of the pinkies. So this was Shaded Spruce, and then for the darker portion, I used Melon Mambo, and then the fill-in color was Flirty Flamingo. So a really, really pretty floral. This is a leafy plant, and I have these all over my yard. So once we get to the summer, I'll have to post a picture of it. But this is the plant that I was talking about, and this was the other version, because I said you could do these in, they're like light green, lighter shades of greens with one dark. There are different versions where they have just really, really light pink. So you could also even go as far as to stamp off the Melon Mambo and stamp off the Flirty Flamingo before you did this. That way you would have a completely lighter version. You could also do where you had the dark pink and then the light green on the inside. But this was done just freehand instead of using the Stamparatus like I did when I did the original version. So you can see it is slightly off. But I think for doing this version, it still turned out pretty cool. But I'm going to trim this up, and then I'm going to put a black background behind this as well and put it onto, I don't have any more note cards. I do actually need to get another box because they are super, super handy. But I'm going to put them on. Also, this is Crumb Cake, and the note card color is more of, here, I'll show you what the box looks like. It's like a darker, it's not a crumb, it's a craft. That's what I'm trying to say. So this was another just a darker version. So I'm going to mount this, and then I'm going to make a whole bunch more of these when I get another box. They come with the Craft Ink note cards. It comes with the envelope and with the note card, and it's a box of 20, and they're really handy if you need to send out a bunch of note cards at the same time, or you're trying to make a bunch of stuff for someone. So if that's something you've never considered, they do come in the box, and it does come flat. Pardon me. It comes flat. So the other thing you can do is you can always, I said this before, you could load them up and put them here and give them as a gift. But I wanted to show you guys that I finally got the other pink version of that situated as well. So stay tuned for that. I will try and mount these and take some pictures of them and show them to you. But I wanted to just add that onto the video because I knew if I didn't tell you about it, I probably would forget and then I would never do it. So I want to thank you so very much for watching today. I hope you learned something new, and maybe you'll try something with some of the paper that you have, thinking outside of the box. Again, if you wanted to be able to get this Trusty Tools Coordinating DSP, it is 12 by 12, and it does come with 6. So you'll get 12 sheets of it, and it is free with a $50 purchase through the end of Sale A Bration, which is February 29th, 2024. If you'd like to get any of the supplies to make this card or many more, you can hit my online store. All the links will be below in the description here. And if you're just here for fun or to support me, I would love for you to click the subscribe button. You can give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share this with someone. All those things do help without spending a dime. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.